You know how the main character Luffy's goal is to be the Pirate King, right? Well, tell me why there was somebody that actually achieved this status, known as Gold Roger, hence being one of the mightiest beings in the One Piece universe. It's natural that he got his own crew and they're strong in their own right, but of course he's the captain, he's the strongest of his crew, but have you ever wondered how mighty is he? Let's get it. The guy that attained everything this world has to offer has to be considered mighty. The mysteries of the world that even us watchers are still trying to figure out what they are, Roger really did obtain everything because he even knows what the will of D means. The D in names, Gold D Roger, you know, Marshall D Teach, Monkey D Luffy, you know what I mean? The Pirate King. Even stated here, we learn the entire truth of the world, what the 100-year void is. There's like a big period in One Piece where nobody knows about, what the people of D are, what the ancient weapons are. In the past, Wano was open to the world, and in the face of that vast treasure, which was very real indeed. Like, he literally achieved everything this world had to offer, went around the globe. He's the first ever. At last, someone has conquered the sea. He's the king of the sea. There's a lot of islands. Even if you take a different path, you still end up in the last island, eventually known as Raftail. The last island of the Grand Line, only the king of the pirates has been there. Legendary stuff. We know this will change when Luffy and them get there. I love how closely they keep the Roger crew or characters closely related to the Straw Hats, because the Straw Hat Pirates Luffy, the main character's crew, shipwright, smart cyborg known as Frankie, this guy's mentor is responsible for Roger's ship. So yeah, you see how they did that there as a parallel? Built Roger's ship. When there's this mysterious fruit known as the devil fruit that grants beings that eat one a mysterious ability, and there's a whole bunch of unique ones. There's even devil fruits that make a character almost untouchable if you don't have a certain technique. Like Loggia, for example, makes their body liquidy and fluid. Devil fruits that allow you to take someone's soul, touch you and turn you into toys, turn you into metal or steel, turn you into light, or turn you into actual mythological creatures like a phoenix. Control gravity or darkness. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because with all these superpowers and everything, Gold Roger became the king of the pirates without none of this type of stuff. You probably wonder how is this possible? Well, in the anime universe of One Piece, being a human is pretty awesome because you can work out and become superhumanly strong if you work out hard enough. Rather, in real life, you got to take all these steroids and you still won't necessarily become superhumanly strong. It's a fair assumption to assume Roger was physically ridiculously strong, which I must show proof of that in this video, of course. But the thing that makes him so scary is that he mastered his inner energy known as, one could say, Haki. It's this universe's version of chakra. You know how in Naruto they have chakra, in Dragon Ball Z they have ki. This universe, it's Haki. Thanks to Haki or certain techniques, you can touch beings that are made of different elements, like touching a being made of actual light. Haki is the reason characters in One Piece are even able to touch beings like this. It significantly amplifies their punching power and strikes or attacks in general. When a character coats their body in Haki, usually they animate it like making their limbs black, like in this occasion Luffy makes his arm black. It even extends to the weapons. This is something Roger obviously can do, and he's pretty much a master at it, because depending on the character, there's different characters that are better at Haki and not as strong as Haki. Obviously Roger's at the top of the food chain, so Roger's going to be pretty high up there. When you get good enough with Haki, it's even explained that it can penetrate you and the Haki can flow into your fist and it destroys your enemy from the inside. This is what happens when you get really, really good at Haki. It's occasions like this that pretty much prove that Roger can do advanced Haki because he can hit you without necessarily his blade making actual contact. This is also why he has super senses. Haki can kind of let you know somebody's about to attack you before they do it. Think of it like spider scent. It helps you deal with surprises. So if you're really good at Haki, it's almost impossible to sneak up on somebody, because as long as the character's calm, they can see 5 plus 10 seconds plus in the future. In this particular case, you can see Roger using ornament Haki, where he extends his Haki all the way to his blade to enhance his blade's hardness, to increase his striking power, basically. So there's Haki that anybody can learn if you are willing to work. Like pretty much anybody in the One Piece world, if they're willing to learn, they can harness their inner Haki and produce ornament if they're trained and stuff like that. But there's like other types. Like you got this, you got the super senses where you can see in the future and sense when you're about to get hit. You got that Haki, that's 2 types of Haki. Then you got a third type that not everybody has. It's a special Haki. It's a Haki where you can pretty much overwhelm somebody's will and knock them out without having to touch them. This comes in handy when you want to take out a lot of opponents, but you don't want to throw a punt. You can even put this into your strikes. One can make an argument this is an example of his Haki, or his presence alone scared the creatures away. They even said, what's on that island that makes all these creatures run? Like all these creatures were running away. This Conqueror's Haki is something that's super rare. It's even stated in narrative that 1 in a million gets this kind of Haki. I mean, it's pretty much proven that whatever he's lacking in devil fruit powers, he makes up in Haki, because you got characters like Whitebeard, one of the strongest characters in the entire series, one of the strongest pirates, who has a literal devil fruit known as Tremor Fruit. And despite this, him and Roger were still neck and neck, and Roger didn't have no devil fruit. So it lets you know how crazy this Haki had to been to make up the difference. I'll bring up Whitebeard again in this video, of course, later on. Kaido, one of the strongest pirates in the world, himself even said Roger didn't have any powers. It lets you know more lore on Roger, because only Haki, according to Kaido, transcends all. And this definitely does seem the case for Roger. Despite these beings that he's had to face having all these different abilities, he still was the Pirate King. He's one of those characters, he's very powerful, but he does lack screen time. His writer intent is through the roof, though. You're probably wondering, if he's so strong, then why did he get executed? Well, the crew, even Rayleigh, one of his top tier crew members, said we weren't caught. Roger gave himself up. There's a difference. The government's propaganda made it seem like they captured him to make themselves look strong. Gave himself up because it was the end of his journey. He came down with a terminal illness, so he was sick. And he was really strong himself, so he would definitely know the details. He was the vice captain, Pirate King's right-hand man. And he's still alive and still ridiculously strong despite his age. Even though he had no superpowers, he did like to use certain things like a melee weapon, like a sword. Pirates got to use a blade. There's a lot of beings in this universe that use blades or a sword of some sort. On one of Roger's mini battles, in this case with Shiki, you can see him using actual pistols or a gun. Pirate-like, right? One of his mini battles, a very strong pirate that made a name for himself, Shiki the Golden Lion. But you're going to get an idea of how hard he can just hit in general, whether if it's just his physicals, if it's physicals mixed with his Haki. He has techniques like the Divine Departure that can hit beings so hard, they go through a whole bunch of trees, even a big tree. It just lets you know the collateral of how hard he can hit in general. So I think it's fair to say with ease, he can hit you hard enough to tremble buildings, send you through multiple buildings, destroying them in the process if he really wanted to. The way it's animated, one tree, big trees, he sent him through. You know the tree's big because this is how small he is compared to it. Sent him that far with one hit. We just scratching the surface too. Sending Odin flying, considering this beast was super massive and Odin still chopped it up, and let you know how strong Roger was. Someone that uses two swords in combat and doesn't really use devil fruit, doesn't have devil fruit powers. This proves that Roger can do this if he was in the same situation as well. Y'all remember this being Squardo, the guy that backstabbed Whitebeard? The reason why Squardo did this to Whitebeard was because of his hatred for Roger, because Roger obliterated his friends. Roger had his moments where he would become a true demon. He would wipe out an entire country's military just because they spoke ill of his crew. So yeah, he had his pirate-like moments where he just wasn't a happy-go-lucky being. But above all else, hated the idea of losing his loved ones. Roger and his crew messed up some fodder Marines with ease. Roger even said, at least bring Garp or Sengoku. The rest of you are no fun. You know, in case you guys don't know how the One Piece world works, there's pirates and then there's Marines, the Navy. Sengoku and Garp are beings that are at the hierarchy at the top of the food chain, admiral level beings. And in the One Piece world, the higher your military rank, you are considered one of the best Marine fighters. So it's not just a rank. It actually goes by their power level. This isn't Roger just being cocky. He knows that there are certain Marines that are pretty top tier. Garp being Luffy's grandfather, the main character's grandfather. Considering that Garp is also a character with no superpowers, just crazy Haki, he could blow away an entire town if he wished. This is the type of stuff that Roger had to face against. For him to say only admiral level beings, it would be the only fun. It's implied that any other rank below this, they're considered jokes to him and his crew, which is wild because despite these beings being super large and them being vice admiral ranked, he would mess them up too. So yeah, Whitebeard can do it, Roger can do it, blah, blah, blah. But to really get to understand how hard Roger can hit is his fights with Whitebeard. Whitebeard has Haki, you know, being able to imbue his fists with his inner energy or spirit energy or whatever, his will or whatever. He also has an actual fruit known as the Tremor fruit to add on top of his punching power or destructive capacity. You see the cracks. Despite all of this stuff going in his favor, he can't just outright overpower Roger. His Tremor fruit can make gigantic mountain-sized tsunamis at will. He can stir up all that energy just for the, attack. It was stated he's the man that has the power to destroy this very world thanks to tremoring so much. A force that could destroy the world in anime narration, the power of the Tremor fruit. Whitebeard can use Haki because he can hit intangible beings that are made of fluidy type of elements and use his fruit at the same time because you see the cracks from his Tremor power being used. Despite all this destructive power that Whitebeard has, keep in mind, this is Whitebeard in his prime, by the way. He wasn't even wearing a do-rag. He wasn't sick here. Roger, you can see him imbuing his attack with Haki. Same with Whitebeard. They clash. You can tell they're using advanced Haki. Their destructive power they're producing from these hits imply to be shaking an entire island or blowing away clouds within the area. The ship was even feeling the effects. The whole island was feeling the effects. Trees were getting blown away. Both of these crews fought for a very long time. 3 days and 3 night long battle. Shows some crazy stamina too. The way they speak of Roger, talking about, like in this occasion, this is obviously an exaggeration. There's other people that have survived against Roger when fighting him, but they speak about surviving a fight with Roger as rare, and Whitebeard was one of the ones that's doing it. Unfortunately, we didn't see this battle fully, really. They kind of brushed past it, but I'm pretty sure in those 3 days that these two were fighting, Whitebeard had to use the trimmer fruit to try to get the advantage over Roger, but he couldn't just outright beat him still. Let you know how crazy destructive Roger's Haki is. There's implications that Roger and Whitebeard has fought several times off panel. That's one of the rare times we actually seen on panel showings I'm showing in this video. But there's been other times they fought. It's a consistent theme. Plenty of evidence. Even in translations, they talk about how they're comparable to one another. Pirate King and Whitebeard. Narrated here. I mean, this is what Oda himself, the creator of One Piece, or the writer of One Piece, had to say about Whitebeard, saying he's a paramecia type that's as powerful as Logia types, and Roger can still clash with him without no superpowers. I mean, you got occasions like this that pretty much confirm Roger's hitting can pretty much tremble an entire island. You know, this is an older Whitebeard, not in his prime, by the way. When Whitebeard's not in his best, he can tilt the entire island. The ground is tilting. He can do all of this madness. And Roger fought a better version of Whitebeard for 3 days and couldn't outright beat him. So stuff like this pretty much proves by default with his Haki, his strikes, slice mountains into pieces if you wanted to, straight up delete them if you wanted to. Leveling an island should be child's play for somebody on his guy's power level. I mean, considering there's lower tiers that are nowhere near Pirate King level that can blow away an entire island with his energy blast or energy projection, even though Roger doesn't have this devil fruit, it's already confirmed that Roger's Haki is strong enough to overpower devil fruits and conquer anything. Beings that are pretty weak in the series, not even close to the top tiers, can do stuff like this. The island is gone without a trace. This same being was even going to threaten to take out the entirety of Skypiea. He creates a bigger blast than the last one that destroyed an entire island. Said he would erase the whole Skypiea kingdom. And this is what one of the top tiers in the One Piece universe said: abilities alone won't conquer the world. Then he proceeds to bring up Roger about how he didn't have any fruit powers because only Haki transcends all. I mean, if Roger had to fight Whitebeard for 3 days straight, Whitebeard is somebody that has ridiculous Haki and has a destructive devil fruit, yet Whitebeard still couldn't outright beat him, even though the two were pretty equally matched or evenly matched, neck and neck. I think it's fair to say, this is hypothetically speaking, of course, because we'll never see Roger and Enel interact, but I'm pretty sure if these two was to interact and Enel was to charge up another attack that could level islands and was to blast this attack at Roger, despite this attack being island shattering, I believe Roger, using his Haki, could blast it back out of the way with a sword strike because of Haki and everything put together, his strength, blah, blah, blah. Because stated by Kaido, his Haki transcends all, and he didn't have any fruit powers. Abilities alone cannot conquer the world. I recognize bounties aren't everything, but yeah, beings with the highest bounties are saying this. Beings that are considered the strongest top 4 pirates in the world. Beings like Kaido is saying this. Oh, I would also like to mention that Kaido's bounty wasn't as big as Roger's was before his death. Heck, Roger even had a higher bounty than Whitebeard. It stated Whitebeard and Roger individually. These type of statements is coming from a being like Kaido, who's not only top 4 strongest in the verse when it comes to pirates, but it's a being that can use abilities to lift an entire island up, and he's like talking up about Roger. He's pretty much letting us know as readers that he holds Roger at high regard. Kaido is one of those beings, he's extremely hard to really damage and battle in a really good, intense one-on-one. When Luffy, the main character, was getting strong in power level, Kaido pretty much mentions all the beings that were on his level to be able to harm him, like in a serious threat type of manner. Of course, Whitebeard is in that category, and same with Roger. So not only could Roger level a mountain, level an island, he probably could level several island-sized structures with one attack if he really just had to. Like I'm talking about, if a whole bunch of islands were like floating above each other, right? I think he can do one sword attack and it would cut through one, go to the other one. Like it'll just keep on going. You know, I think it's like that when it comes to his destructive power. But your opinions are more than welcome though. There's some destructive beings in One Piece, and with no superpowers, he can overpower their raw power thanks to Haki and all that. Good stuff like Conqueror's Haki infusion. Whatever he lacks in devil fruit power, he makes up in Haki destructive power. A very powerful swordsman from Wano somebody that has ridiculous cutting power using this famous sword known as Enma, the famed blade, is one of the few beings that can hit ridiculously hard, and his strikes can actually damage Kaido to the point where he leaves a scar. In One Piece narrative, if you give somebody a scar, that was a deep cut, and it's a big deal. I mean, characters get cut all the time, but they don't leave permanent scars. This is a big deal. And this same being that did this to Kaido stated this about Roger: "I smell a beast," letting you know how strong Roger is. Okay, there's like this common theme to let the readers know what an Emperor level being is. It's when two Emperor level beings clash, they split the entirety of the sky, the clouds themselves above everybody, splitting the heavens. It's literally a common trope. We've seen Whitebeard and Shanks clash, split the heavens. Whitebeard when he was older too. Roger himself and Whitebeard clashing, splitting the clouds. Kaido and Big Mom splitting the clouds. Luffy and Kaido splitting the, like all Yonko level beings that clash with one another. Check out this interesting detail with Roger and Whitebeard though. When Roger and Whitebeard do it, the clouds just get blown away instead of split. Like, it's almost like they're trying to imply this is even greater than like splitting because they got blown away here, but that could be just me. What do you think about that, Roger? Sometimes the manga panel makes it hard to see what's going on. When Whitebeard and Roger clash, you see the clouds like this, but then you see it do like this. Like, it just blew it away instead of just split down the middle, just blew it away. You see what I mean? Are they trying to imply this is greater than all the other split cloud feats that we seen earlier? Like Kaido and Big Mom split, didn't do all this. You know what I mean? To really understand Roger's power is that there was this pirate crew that had some of the strongest pirates of all time. In one crew, Whitebeard himself, Big Mama, all these Emperor level beings, Kaido himself, another Emperor level being, 3 Emperor level beings that we know and love on the same freaking crew. And they had their own captain named Zebek, a legendary crew. And guess what? Who wouldn't love to see this animated? Garp, the legendary Marine, and Roger teaming up against some of the mightiest pirates of all time. Garp and Roger basically took down the strongest crew in the world. To let you know the Pirate King's level again, but he had help in this occasion too though. One can make an argument Kaido and Big Mom wasn't necessarily Yonko tier back then, but one can make an argument they was getting close. Who knows what their actual power level was that far back in the day though. But at the end of the day, y'all, you gotta respect the King of Pirates. He does lack appearances, but his writer intent is insane. He made a lasting impression on this show, and everybody's trying to reach his level. Even top tiers of the universe respect his might. You have no choice but to respect him. He's a man that achieved everything this world has to offer. Hope you guys are enjoying this One Piece or anime raid. But for everybody, before I get going, I gotta say thanks for the donations, everybody. Helps out a lot. Respect, Roger. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.